The first time I saw Commander Karethval, she was standing over a pile of smoldering armor plates. Human armor. My armor. We had been enemies less than 6 weeks before. Now, thanks to the uneasy ceasefire signed between the Terran Union and the Vraet Dominion, we were allies, at least on paper. In reality, we didn't trust each other. The Vraet didn't like us. They thought humans were unpredictable, too emotional, too attached to things like honor and morality. And honestly, they weren't wrong, but it was the only thing that made us human. I'd been assigned as a liaison mechanic on Station Arcturus 9, a neutral outpost orbiting a dead moon at the border of Dominion space. The place smelled like oil and ozone, half Vraet tech, half Terran, and entirely a disaster waiting to happen. Kareth was my assigned contact, commander of the Vraet Guard Detachment. Tall, silver-scaled, with eyes like violet steel and armor that looked more like living bone than metal. The Vraet were a reptilian species, humanoid in shape but alien in every other way, their armor bonded to their skin, their weapons singing like organic extensions of their bodies. She barely looked at me when I was introduced. Human, she said, as though testing the word for poison. Don't touch anything without asking. That was our beginning. 4 days, we worked in silence, repairing hybrid systems, the station's generators, weapon interfaces, docking arms. The Vraet tech refused to sync with Terran software. Every time I thought I'd solved something, her side of the screen would flicker with alien glyphs and error warnings. You approach it emotionally, she would say in that sharp, musical accent. Technology obeys logic, not compassion. And yet, I'd mutter, it keeps breaking every time you touch it. I didn't expect her to laugh, but one day, she did. A single, soft exhale that sounded almost human. It startled both of us. For the first time, I realized how young she looked, maybe my age, maybe younger, despite the hardened warrior stance she always held. She had small scars across her jaw, and when the artificial lights caught her scales, they shimmered with a soft, blue sheen. We didn't talk much after that, but something had changed. She didn't call me human anymore. She called me Reese. Middle the battle no one expected. The ceasefire didn't last long. It never does. It started with a distress beacon, a civilian transport, caught in a gravity eddy near the moon's surface. By the time Kareth and I reached the hangar, alarms were already blaring. The Kryn, a rogue faction from Vraet space, had ambushed the transport. They didn't care about peace treaties or alliances. They wanted war. Kareth ordered her troops into defensive positions while I ran diagnostics on the hangar's shield generators. Half of them were fried from the last solar flare. The Kryn ships were circling, waiting for the perfect strike. We can't hold them, I told her. Not without the shield grid. You fix it, she said calmly. I'll buy you time. I looked up. She was already fastening her armor, the plates sealing around her like liquid metal. Kareth, you'll be outnumbered 5-1. Then they'll need 5 times the courage, she said with a faint, almost amused smirk. And then she was gone. Through the viewport, I saw her unit launch into the void, silver streaks against the blackness, colliding with the incoming Kryn fighters. The station trembled from weapons fire. Warning lights flared red. My hands moved instinctively, patching circuits, rerouting power, coaxing dying machines back to life with curses and prayers. When the hangar doors finally sealed, I thought we'd made it. Until the explosion. A Kryn boarding torpedo punched through the outer hull. The corridor lit up with plasma fire. I grabbed a sidearm, ducked behind the console, and waited for the airlock to cycle open. The first thing through wasn't a Kryn soldier. It was Kareth, her armor cracked, one arm limp, clutching her side. Blood, a shimmering violet, leaked between the plates. Behind her, The Kryn poured through the breach. She fell beside me, gasping. The Queen's Guard, they're coming, hold them. Without thinking, I grabbed her and dragged her behind the machinery. Plasma bolts shredded the wall above us. The station system screamed as atmosphere vented through ruptures. Her breathing was ragged. I tore open the armor seam at her abdomen, searching for the wound. The Vraet exoskin pulsed like a living organism, trying to seal itself. Don't, she started, but winced. Shut up, I muttered. You're lucky I worked with biosynthetic armor before. Her eyes flickered open. You're touching a Vraet commander's armor. That's forbidden. Yeah, I said, prying loose a cracked plate. Sue me. She laughed again, weakly this time. The wound beneath was bad. A plasma graze, deep and charred. I applied a sealant patch, then used the armor's internal filament system to repair the gap. It hummed softly, reknitting. Kareth, I said, tightening the bioconnectors. You're going to be fine. Her gaze softened as she studied my face. For once, there was no hostility, no command in her tone. You're good at this. I've had practice. You Vraet aren't the first ones I've had to patch up. Her lips curved slightly, a faint, tired smile. No wonder they fear you humans. You fix even what you destroy. When the last filament reconnected, the armor sealed with a metallic sigh. She exhaled shakily and sat up. I looked away, embarrassed by how close we were. Her hand brushed mine, cold and scaled, but almost trembling. She caught me staring. What? She said, almost teasing. You've never been thanked by a Vraet? Not like that. Her smile faded. She leaned closer, close enough that I could see the faint luminescence in her pupils. Then, barely audible over the alarms, she whispered, Don't tell them I trust you. The words hit harder than the explosion that followed. Middle continued, secrets in the dark. We made it out alive, somehow. The Kryn were repelled after reinforcements arrived, but the damage to the station was catastrophic. Both Vraet and Terran High Command sent inquiries. How had the enemy breached? Who had authorized the joint counterattack? Neither side wanted to admit the truth. We'd acted together. We'd trusted each other. That kind of unity was dangerous. Kareth was ordered to return to her warship for evaluation. I was told to prepare a full report for Terran Command, minus any personal impressions. For 3 days, I didn't see her. The hangar felt colder without her presence. I tried not to think about her voice, her words. Don't tell them I trust you. Then, on the 4th night, I found her waiting in the engine bay, hooded, out of uniform. You shouldn't be here, I said quietly. They'll see you. I had to return something. She held out a small piece of scorched metal. One of my tools, the one I dropped during the battle. I could have bought another. I know, she said softly, but this one saved my life. We stood there, surrounded by humming reactors and the faint thrum of distant machinery. It felt wrong and right at the same time. They think you're reckless, she said, that humans are ruled by emotion. They're not entirely wrong, I admitted. Good, she said, stepping closer. Because logic never would have saved me. Before I could answer, she turned and left, vanishing into the shadows of the corridor. That was the last time I saw her for months. Ending the return of the Queen's Guard. War returned, as it always does. The Kryn declared full rebellion, and both the Vraet Dominion and the Terran Union were dragged into the chaos. Arcturus 9 became a battlefield. I was reassigned to frontline engineering, patching ships faster than we could count the dead. Then came the day I never thought would happen. The Vraet flagship Nailthra appeared above the Terran carrier group, not as an enemy, but as an ally. It hailed us with a single message. Commander Karethval, envoy of the Dominion, requests audience with Terran officer Reese Calder. I stood in disbelief as her shuttle docked. When the airlock cycled open, I saw her again, clad in resplendent silver armor, repaired and pristine, the symbol of the Vraet Queen etched across her breastplate. She walked toward me with the same unshakable grace as before, but her eyes were softer now. "Reese," she said quietly, "you've changed." "So have you," I said. "Last time I saw you, you were bleeding all over my hangar." "And you were shouting at a reactor core," she smiled. "Still reckless, I see." Her purpose soon became clear. She was here as a bridge, a living symbol of cooperation between our species. But not everyone wanted peace. A faction of human extremists aboard our fleet, the Iron Faction, planned to sabotage the alliance ceremony. We discovered the bomb minutes before detonation. Together, again. While chaos erupted through the corridors, Kareth and I sprinted toward the engine bay, the same place we'd once shared that quiet moment. The device was hidden near the primary reactor conduit, sealed behind Terran plating. "Can you disarm it?" she asked. "Not fast enough," I said, scanning the timer. "We've got 4 minutes." She drew her plasma blade. "Then we make time." Covering me as I worked, she deflected incoming fire from the extremists. The corridor became a blur of light and noise, her armor flaring with energy, my hands trembling as I rewired the failsafe circuit. 30 seconds, I shouted. She moved closer, shielding me with her body as debris rained down. When the timer hit 0, I cut the final line. Silence. Then a soft hiss, and the bomb's display flickered dark. Kareth exhaled, leaning against the bulkhead. "You did it." "We did it," I said. Again. Her gaze lingered on me, and for the first time, she removed her helmet. Her face was illuminated by the flickering reactor light, tired, beautiful, alien, and so profoundly alive. "Reese," she said slowly, "I told you once not to tell them I trusted you. I remember." She nodded. "Now I don't care who knows." And before I could answer, she stepped closer, her hand brushing mine in a gesture that transcended words, neither human nor Vraet, but something in between. Epilogue beyond war. Peace came, eventually fragile and imperfect, but real. The Dominion and the Union signed the Treaty of Nailthra, forged not by diplomats, but by those who bled together. Kareth was named the first Vraet ambassador to Terra. I stayed with the engineering corps, rebuilding what war had destroyed. But sometimes, when the stars align and her ship docks near mine, I still see her. The faint smile, the same eyes that once distrusted me. We talk like old friends, sometimes like something more. And every now and then, when she catches me looking, she leans closer and whispers the same words that started it all. "Don't tell them, I trust you." Only now we both know. It's not a secret anymore.